Hey, welcome everybody. Another legal updates. This one's full of some drama. Today we're going to cover Marilyn Manson again. If you saw the description and lovely black and red thumbnails that I enjoy making for 2 years, almost 2 years now. but I've been covering this for quite a while. It's not actually 2 years. I think it was just over a year and a half now. It was like February of 2021 when everything hit the fan. Um, but Marilyn Manson's attorneys dropped a slew of depositions. I mean, slew is the only word I can think of. I mean, pile, truckload, wheelbarrow load, whatever you want to say, like 8 or 9 of them, plus some other motions against the anti-SLAPP to try to get more time. They're actually trying to get more time to go over depositions. They want to do them at the same time, because when Evan, Rachel Woods, and Illma Gore both filed anti-SLAPPs against some parts of Brian Warner, aka Marilyn Manson's complaint. Not all of it. So it's not going to stop the lawsuit from going forward, but just parts of it. They put this anti-SLAPP on, mostly about the Phoenix Rising and about coming forward with the allegations and all, mostly about the defamation part, because, they're saying that, in an anti-SLAPP, it's like they're actually doing good. They're actually serving the public in what they were doing. It's a bit of a reach, but that is where they're coming from with in the state does have an anti-SLAPP, and because they did the anti-SLAPP, it stops discovery on those areas, and he is actually petitioning forward with his lawyers to try to get discovery moved forward so they could do it all at the same time, so he has stuff to fight the anti-SLAPP, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They have quite a bit of stuff already out here, and we're going to go over a bunch of it today. For those of you, there are quite a few channels that are covering it, and the one that's been covering it the most in detail right now about the information, they may appear a little bit biased because they do actually believe that Marilyn Manson is innocent of all of this. I'm not going to say that until I get into the courtroom, because I want to see what evidence is actually proven to be presentable and where we can go with it. I do have a personal opinion about it that we'll discuss later, but it's Colonel Kurtz is the one I want to press. She has lots of interviews on her channel with key people in this investigation, things that other people do not have. And so if you want to get more invested, you can do the playlist that I have in the description that goes all the way back from when it first came out, and we started talking about it quite a while ago when the first allegations all started to come out. But also from Colonel Kurtz, her playlist is down there too, because I just want to say that I've been following a few of it. She's very precise. She goes over the information well. She has now been talking to another lawyer, Andrea Burkhart, so she gets a legal angle on it too. She goes and talks to lawyers like I do, just to make sure that we're not misrepresenting the information. I don't pretend to be a lawyer. I don't pretend to have a legal background. I just love this stuff, and I don't want to misrepresent any information at all. So I'm always going back and checking on things and checking with people that actually would know better than I. But on that, let's just say, so there's any questions before I go forward about the anti-SLAPP or the discovery motion? Because then I'll address that first before we get into this ton of depositions that are quite entertaining. Now, today's going to be a bit of reading as I go over. I'm going to cherry pick the good parts. I'm not reading one of them from the lawyer's 65 pages. You don't want me to read 65 pages in lawyerese. I get that, and I understand, but we do need to cherry pick some of the best parts of what they've done, because I have to say this was damn good lawyering on the part of Brian Warner's team. They are knocking it out of the park, hitting those key issues of what they're trying to prove. Boom, 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 boom. They're showing them straight out what they got. I do believe they're trying to lay out a formula so perhaps they can get the other side to just, stop this, or, stop with this carrying on ridiculousness, or what looks to be somewhat of an organized affair. That's all I'll say about that. But let's see. I'm just gonna check the. Let me just say hi to everybody, because as once I start reading, I'm not going to be able to type. So hey, Autistic Shell, thank you for being here. Thank you, Charlie, for being here tomorrow. Thank you both. Robsky, Sandy, Wrecker, Lone Wolf, Icarus. Hey, Luke Minelli. Hey, just Rhonda. I really enjoyed your channel the other night. That was really great. You read wonderfully, dear. I'm going to, if one of my mods could grab Rhonda's channel for me and put it down in the links, that would be great. If not, I will list it at the end when I can go searching without busting my potato with all the links that I have open. But yeah, she also does she does mostly wrongful convictions. The one that I am following the closest is about the Memphis 3 with Stephen Avery. And that's what I was listening to some of that the other night. And I thank them for all the good work that they're doing there and the information they put out. So thanks, Just Rhonda. And thanks, Ginger, for being here. And Jin, Sandy, Sunny D, welcome. If I've missed anybody, I'm sorry. I'm going through the names. I think I got everybody. Anybody else coming in after? Welcome. Everybody watching on YouTube, thanks for the view. And if you have questions and you're watching later and there's things, hit the back of the comment section, or I'm glad to answer questions there too. I've been doing that lately on some of them. There are questions afterwards, and I've got no problem. I want information out there correctly. If I get anything wrong, feel free to tell me. I'll check into it. Charlie, that just sounds wrong. Charlie wants us all to go vote for the album, the first album, and worst band name together. There's the last 3 entries for the last gift certificate from a stream I did earlier on the weekend. And we gave out a couple of gift certificates. We've given out 2 so far, and the third one is still up for grabs. And apparently, he's trying to sketch the votes here by saying which one is his. Now, I know he's charming and everybody, but go vote what you want on the back of the community. Don't let him pressure you. But please vote, because it's just more fun if you all vote. Okay. And up today, the like button, Robsky says, is gin and tonic. So everybody go down there. And I know you have, I know, Charlie, you have no shame. I don't either, but I hate this YouTube stuff. Like, I hate the shill, but thank you for helping me out with it. Like, because, comments on the back of the videos, liking and sharing, that's what keeps us here. So we can keep doing that for you. On that, I don't see any questions except for Charlie's on whether he won the gift certificate or not yet. Which not yet. We've got 7.5 hours still to vote on that. So if you could have, hey Beaver, welcome. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to chat for a little bit. I'm type in the chat. I'm going to actually put up what we're going to be reading first. All right. This is Brian's. Hey, hi, Inquisitor. No, we're not. Knock it off, dude. We're going to be reading about this guy. We're going to be taking care of this guy here. The declaration of Brian Warner. All of these depositions were filed on the 22nd. And this one's too big because I cannot actually put it down. I'm going to have to make it a little bit smaller so that I can do the page. Okay. Let's just get this here. All right. So Brian Warner filed this on July 22nd, and this is his deposition in regards to, when he met Evan Rachel Woods in 2006. He's declaring that they had a romantic relationship until 2010. During that time, they were engaged to be married and carried on a loving and consensual relationship. Eventually, like many couples, they broke up. He never abused, assaulted, raped, or threatened Wood or her family, as she has since contended. Okay. Here, accusations against me of abuse, assault, and rape, threats, and the like are unequivocally false. Okay. I understand that on or around February 1st of 2021, Wood posted to Instagram that I was her abuser. And shortly thereafter, a number of other women simultaneously emerged with false public accusations against me of abuse, assault, rape, threats, trafficking, and the like. These women include Ashley Morgan Smithline, Ashley Walters, Jane Doe, and Esme Bianco. All four had suits against Brian Warner, footnote, but Ashley Walters has been dismissed. Jane Doe was dismissed and refiled under other terms properly. To the extent I had relationships with these women, those relationships were consensual. I never abused, assaulted, raped, threatened, or trafficked any of these women, as they contend. Their accusations against me are unequivocally false, okay? Wood and her one-time girlfriend, Illma Gore, have also accused me of abusing and or threatening to abuse children. I am not a child abuser and have never abused or threatened to abuse any child. My film Groupie was not child pornography. It was a professional art horror film I created and wrote, and which was filmed by director Joseph Cultus. The actress Paula Weiss was over 21, and there was no sex in the film. Prior to filming, Weiss and I went through the film's concept, plot, and some high-level dialogue. When I screened Groupie for Wood in about 2009, I told her the actress was Weiss, an ex-girlfriend. After watching the film, Wood told me she was very impressed with it. Her only criticism was that she had not been able to star in the film. I understand that Wood and Gore continue to promulgate the falsehood that I am a child abuser and that Groupie is child pornography, somehow lending credence to Wood's false accusations and enhancing their perceived influence and prospective accusers. For example, in 1990, I was introduced and became friendly with Catherine McGaffigan and her friends Jeanette Pollard and Allison Duffy. McGaffigan, Pollard, and Duffy appeared in my tour documentary, Dead to the World, and have been credited as cast of that film on the website IMDb. I understand from documents given to me by McGaffigan, compromising conversations between her and Gore, that in September 2020, Gore attempted to recruit McGaffigan for a group of survivors of violence with similar experiences, specifically abuse suffered from other teenagers, allegedly by me. In support of that proposition, Gore stated Groupie was not released because the girl was underage. The content horrifies people, and that the FBI got involved. None of McGaffin, Pollard, or Duffy appeared in Groupie, and I never abused or threatened to abuse McGaffigan, Pollard, or Duffy. I understand further that on March 3rd of 2022, Gore posted to Twitter calling me a rapist pedophile. And on approximately March 15th of 2022, Wood appeared on the Trevor Noah Show, stating that there have been allegations and stories that have come out on the internet that involve minors, and you got to draw the line somewhere. And with children, I have to draw the line there, and I don't believe that he will stop until he is stopped. Again, I am not a child abuser and have never abused or threatened to abuse any child, and I never would. I have suffered severe emotional distress as a result of Wood and Gore's conduct as alleged in my complaint. I am not a rapist or an abuser, but many people now apparently think that I am. The individual acts alleged in my complaint were not isolated events, but rather part of an intertwined and long-running conspiracy and a course of conduct to cast me publicly and falsely as a rapist and abuser. This conduct included not only pressuring and causing women to emerge with coordinated false allegations of rape and abuse, but also other acts used to promulgate and amplify those public falsehoods. For nearly a decade or more, none of these women accused me of rape or abuse, as no rape or abuse happened. I have been the target of a fake letter, purportedly from a real FBI agent, whom I understand has told my counsel that she did not draft, sign, or authorize the letter, and had never investigated me, any matter related to me, or any matter related to Wood. In addition, I have been defamed, impersonated, hacked, and swatted by Wood and or Gore. After Wood's and others' lies about me became public, the media firestorm was exacerbated when Gore falsely reported that there was an emergency at my home, causing low-flying police helicopters, spotlights, and squad cars and armed officers to be deployed to my home for hours on multiple occasions. I have never met or spoken to Gore. Her report of an emergency was false. Members of the press appeared to be some of the first on the scene, and this chaos was reported as somehow being connected with the false allegations against me. Photos of my house and my address were published online and in newspapers, and paparazzi and media camped outside for weeks. My wife and I were forced to move out and sell our home. After being falsely portrayed as a rapist, abuser, and child pornographer, my career as a musician and recording artist has suffered, including because I have been unable to tour and was dropped by my record label and agency. My film and television career has suffered, including because I was pulled from 2 television shows, one of which was a reoccurring role. My art career has suffered, including because the release of my book and art shows have been indefinitely postponed, and my paintings have been devalued. I have received countless death threats online. I have been excluded from countless social and business gatherings, and I have constantly felt anxious, distraught, depressed, worried, frantic, sleepless, and fearful for my and my wife's physical safety. I declare under penalty of perjury under the laws of the state of California that the foregoing is true and correct, dated the 19th, filed on the 22nd. That is the actual declaration of Brian Warner. And you can see he is contesting everything that was done to him. But from the 1st of 2021, and if you go back to the beginning videos that I put, it will show you all of those Instagram posts. There were the 4 of them did post, but then when you watch that video, you will learn there were many others that told stories too. In all count, when I was done my video, there were 16 accusers of stories of some type. The most horrific were from these 4. The only ones accusing Brian of anything to do with a minor are that I could find were Evan Rachel Woods and Illma Gore. No one else mentioned minors except for that of the age that they were when they became in contact with Brian, but actually said that they became in contact with Brian by text or by phone or by meeting with him, and nothing actual physical ever happened until they were over the age of 18 or even older. Some of them were people that he worked with, were women that he worked with, photographers, artists, recording artists, other musicians, all over the age of 21 or more, that were saying that they were uncomfortable about certain things, but nothing like what Evan Rachel Woods and Illma Gore are attesting here. Nothing like what they portrayed in Phoenix Rising, okay, which was supposed to be a documentary of support and ended up to be a hit piece against Brian Warner. I mean, let's be clear. That does sound a little biased. I'm sorry if it sounds a little biased, but if you go and watch it, you'll see that I'm not actually being biased. I can actually say that that's probably clear information that they definitely were out to portray him in the worst light possible. You can see, you can literally see it. And I'm looking at it with a very jaded eye, trying to look at it from both sides. And I'm telling you, it's a hit piece. It's a hit piece. Okay. So Brian is contesting that none of this ever happened. Okay. And that all of his relationships were consensual. And whatever you may feel about his character portrayal, his rock star image, it's out there. I get it. He loves for people to think he'll do the absolute worst thing possible. But let's not forget, that is the artist. That is the almost character, okay, that he plays, that he willingly lets label himself. Everybody can label him that on stage. Okay. But they would have a hard time proving that in his real life. And that's what they're trying to do. Link this all together as if he is the same off stage as he is on stage. Okay. Yeah, he's a little crazy. He drank a lot. He likes to party. He does things. Okay. And some of his friends question some of the things that have it on. I know that the Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails disavowed him based on an incident that happened. He didn't like how he behaved in a certain instance, and he said he wouldn't have anything else to do with them. But they were friends for quite a while before that, so it's not like it was ongoing all the time. I'm not saying that there aren't questionable acts or behavior here. I do believe there are. I do. When I look at the age of people, when you're in your 30s and the people you're contacting to become friends with and eventually have relationships with are 16, 17, and 18 years old, I don't want to judge or kink shame, but I'm wondering why. And I'm wondering if consent can be 100% when there is some type of coercive behavior going on, when you do have an imbalance of power. And that's all I'll say about that. I look at it from that perspective, an imbalance of power. Do I think that there was the level of abuse that Evan Rachel Woods is saying? No, I can't say. Some of the things that she's portraying happened when you look at evidence that comes forward. Like I said, I would ask you to go back to some of the other videos about the evidence that they're putting forward and the future ones when it comes into the courtroom, if it gets there, and actually look at the actual evidence to find out. Because again, I'm not going to fall into the trap of just believing something because somebody says it, especially after you see the rest of these depositions. These are people swearing under oath to a court of law. Okay, you heard Brian Warner swear his off. Okay, the next one that I have, if you have any questions about Brian's, please put them in now, because I'm going to pull up these in the what's this one? No, I want. Okay. The first one I have is going to be Paula Weiss. Paula's is pretty short. You can all see that. I'm not covering it there. All right. So Paula Weiss, she declares that these facts are true, and if called as a witness, she can and completely testify to the following: that she has known Brian Warner, aka Marilyn Manson, since the 90s. During that time, she knew him as a social acquaintance, that she is a model and actress, and she's gone by the name Paula Weiss in her professional life. In approximately 1996, I was living and working in Los Angeles. I went on a casting call for a music video. I was cast for the role. When I arrived at the shoot, I was seated next to Manson at hair and makeup. The video was for his song, Long Hard Road Out of Hell. We became friendly during the shoot and thereafter engaged in a romantic relationship for roughly a few months. During this time, I became close to Manson and his band and spent time with them at Manson's home in Hollywood. Manson was never physically, emotionally, or sexually abusive towards me. During the same period, in approximately 1996, when I was seeing Manson, I acted in the film by Manson called Groupie. I was approximately 21 or 22 years old at the time. Before the film was shot, Manson and I discussed the burgeoning interest in filmmaking. We discussed his concept for the film and some high-level dialogue that he drafted. The film would be shot at his house. We agreed that I would play a crazed fan, i.e. the groupie, who found out where Manson lived and was bringing him a piece of art. His bandmates would be at the house when I rang the doorbell. The scene was then to devolve into a scary game of truth or dare straight out of a horror film. Only he and I would be in on the plot, and part of the concept was to capture the reactions of his bandmates and other people who were in the house. Before, during, and after the film shoot, I knew what I was doing and was totally comfortable with it. I fed on the energy of the shocked crowd and hammed it up for the scene. I felt completely and totally safe during the filming with Manson. I did not feel degraded, humiliated, exploited, or abused. I was acting it make-believe. In fact, I felt like I was able to give into the character and further develop my acting skills. I considered this film to be a professional job. It was a paid job, and the film was shot by acclaimed director Joseph Coltais. I have seen the documentary of Manson's 1996 tour titled Dead to the World, which was also directed by Coltais. A short clip of the groupie film I acted in was used in that documentary, and I was thanked in the credits. Special thanks, Paula Weiss. Any statements that I was under the age of 18 at the time groupie was filmed, that groupie depicted or constituted child pornography or abuse, or that I was dead or killed are unequivocally false. I have never been contacted by Illma Gore or Evan Rachel Wood regarding my relationship or work with Manson. And she declares this all under penalty of law of the state of California, foregoing that it's true and correct on July 20th of this month, and it is declared into the court on the 22nd. That's number 2. Now, that just debunked that whole thing that they're claiming about groupie. Okay, if the actress who actually played the groupie is telling you she's not underage, I mean, that's going to take those charges. That kind of makes what they're saying false, which makes it can't really go for anti-slap because it's not true, right? And how is it a public service when you're lying and defaming on somebody? You see, here's the issue with all of this. If any of this is true, the actions of Evan Rachel Woods and Illma Gore in bringing false testimony and accusations forward that can't be supported by deposition of anyone is really going to hurt everything. And for anybody who has an actual case, it's going to damage it because this really does look bad for them. Do you agree? I mean, is anybody hearing what I'm throwing down here? Because this does not look good. You know, it does not look good at all for the defendants. Okay, next one. This is the declaration of Esme Bello. Again, someone that they're saying through testimony in other cases that there was an issue. She states that the facts are within her personal knowledge, and if called as a witness, she can and will completely testify that she met Manson in approximately 2010, and she was a fan of Manson's, living in Hungary at the time. In January 2011, she spent 3 days and 2 nights in the company of Marilyn Manson while he was visiting Vienna for an art exhibit. During that trip, she communicated with Manson's personal assistant, Ashley Waters, who was traveling with Manson, and coordinated the meeting. When I arrived at the hotel in Vienna, she met me in the lobby and introduced me to Manson. When Manson was at the hotel, I stayed with him in his room. And when he was out, I stayed in Walter's room. I have not seen Manson or Walters since that weekend in January of 2011. On October 15th of 2020, January 22nd, 2021, I received emails from Illma Gore sent through my website. A true and correct copy of those emails are attached herein as Exhibit A. The messages from Gore said in part, "I know this is a strange way to reach out, but my name is Illma, and I work with Phoenix Act along Evan Rachel Wood. We were organizing a group of people to meet in Los Angeles and Zoom Skype in to talk about experiences they had that might be similar to yours." In approximately February to May 2021, I became aware through social media that lawsuits had been filed against Manson, including by Walters. I reviewed Walters' complaint at the time, in which Walters states that she witnessed defendant's constant degradation of female fans, citing one example, the January 2011 trip to Vienna. I reviewed her further statement that while in Vienna, defendant met with a young girl. After inviting her to his hotel room, he bragged about having sex with her. He also texted Walters from his hotel room saying he took the girl's virginity. Walters' description of my time with Manson and Walters in Vienna is false. I was not degraded, humiliated, or abused by him. And while I did have sexual intercourse for the first time with Manson, I consented to and enjoyed everything that happened between us that weekend. I was also not a young girl at the time. I was a 19-year-old woman. I was deeply disturbed by Walters' filing and Gore's emails. Not only had my story been taken and misrepresented by Walters without my knowledge or consent, but also as I was being recruited by Gore as a supposed victim of Warner to join a group of people to talk about experiences they had that might be similar to mine. All of this was false, as I was not a victim of Manson. I did not attend any groups organized by Gore or Wood. I declare under perjury, penalty of perjury under the laws of the state of Comfort that this is true and correct. Again, signed on the 13th day of July and in England. And I don't know why they filed it that way, but she messed up on the last page. Here are the text messages. First of all, this was the email from Illma Gore, and it does say exactly what she said. And it's very tiny, and I'm not going to read it because it says exactly what she said. That she's a close friend and she's trying to get a hold of her. There are no responses from her going back. It just proves it. Oh, they're not showing the text messages. Sorry, they only showed the emails. They don't have Walters's. I think the Walters ones are actually in the Walters filing. All right, so on that, any questions in regards to how that debunks an actual, really that's going to only help the case that's been, because Walters's case has actually been already dismissed based on, I don't know if it's based on timing, it's based on how she filed it, it's based on not having enough there to state that she qualified for the extended filing ruling. Which was a problem because she didn't submit evidence of trauma or anything until after the fact. And they also said since she didn't really experience trauma and she was filing her claim, if you'll remember that Ashley Walters' case was actually almost like a workplace harassment type situation. She was throwing all those laws at him, the Bain Act and all of that. Throwing that at him, that it was the way he bantered with his friends and said that they could grope her and this and that made it, keeping her up all hours of the night, not giving her breaks, overworking her, etc. Made for a hostile work environment. That's most of her claims. There were not such abusive claims as there were in some of the others. And so when it came up that the extension of time filing for someone who has gone through such trauma, they did not really feel she presented enough evidence. And she did not come forward with any evidence of a therapist or anything until after they were going to deny her the extension, which made it suspect that all of a sudden, if she was actually going to file this late, she should have brought all that forward at the time. She didn't actually bring anything forward or make the claim that she had trauma, and couldn't remember things until after she found out that she was past the time and they were going to kick it out. So it was a problem. Yeah, Mikkel, I do. I see. Let me just put this up because I agree with you here, Mikkel. Hi, Kyle's Goldfish. Hi, Art, Lo, Liam, Dick, welcome. Sorry I didn't see you guys come in. I was reading. Okay, let me find this comment from Mikkel. This is very good. Thank you, Mikhail. I'm very fond of you also. I've read the declarations and they do not paint Gore and Wood in a good light at all. Add that to Wood's filing where she didn't rebut any of the swatting and hacking allegations. That's right, because they got official phone calls to confirm it. That was actually a smart move because she would definitely have some trouble there, wouldn't she? Wouldn't she? Yeah, I agree. It's not looking good. It's really not. This is good. Oh, hey, Shay. All right. So far, 2 claims, 2 separate filings thrown almost all the way out as far as if these declarations are true. And like, don't you think that the woman who they say is a minor, she would know whether she was a minor or not? I mean, that was just awful for them to do that without checking the facts. Like, why didn't they check their information before they're going to go? I mean, they really went to the wall with these accusations and just threw everything out there like that. Oh, it just doesn't make any sense. This does sound like people with personal grievances that they are really trying to paint him in the worst way possible. And they're doing a damn good job. When he says that his reputation is taking a hit, it is taking a hit. Hey, dog, welcome. Yep, welcome. Oh, hey, Kim, welcome. I didn't see you come in either. How are you? What's it? Okay, another comment from Mikhail. I'm going to put this up. I believe Marilyn Manson is innocent of these accusations. His public persona is a hurdle to combat, but I'm still open to the proof and the truth. Me too. I'm keeping, some of it's very salacious, and I'm kind of like keeping. I have to say, when I first went over all the accusations way back in February of 2021, and I did my first video, I was affected by all of those women's claims. It got me. It did, because I'm thinking, wow, if that's true, like how absolutely horrible, how absolutely degrading, humiliating to be put in that situation, because they're talking about not being fed for hours, sleep deprived, putting you in a state where my question was, is this true consent after all of that happens to the things that happen to them afterwards? I'm not kink shaming. I'm not saying anything about any of that. I'm actually looking at coercive consent, power play consent, imbalance of power consent, whether that actually agrees, like a real technical issue here for me, that I've been looking at several cases with. And it just plays out here. That's where I have my doubt. But whether or not they were in consensual relationships, no. They all lived with him for years afterwards. Some of them came back after escaping what they say were horrible situations, were away from him from a year, and then came back. So, I understand that there's, emotional attachments and things like that. And I don't want to judge anyone. If they feel that they were a victim, I want them to present their case if they feel that they were victimized. But I want to see their case. I want to see how this happened, because I can't understand how you go so long, all of you, and then all of a sudden do a coordinated hit on a man that you have a problem with. It was coordinated, no doubt about it. They all came out on the same day, all of them. It was like a stampede, okay, of texts and social media postings and articles and you name it. It all came out at once. No doubt that was orchestrated in some way. And then possibly more people tagged onto it. I agree. Like it could have snowballed from there, that people had grievances and decided to talk about it. But definitely started with a coordinated event. At least that's what it appears to be. Okay, we'll go to the next. Yeah, there's more. There's more. Okay, this is the declaration of Dominic Phoenix. Also, just recently. Dominic Phoenix Scaia, also Phoenix Thorne, declares that with personal knowledge and a witness that they will definitely testify that they know Brian Warner personally over the last approximately several months, became interested in his legal cases and have followed them online. They run the Instagram account, Marilyn Manson is Innocent. On June 6th of this year, 2022, just last month, I started a conversation over Instagram Messenger with Ashley Morgan Smithline, one of the petitioners. From my account, Marilyn Manson is innocent. During our conversation, which extended through June, we exchanged text, audio, image, and video messages. I shared pictures and details about myself. Attached as Exhibit A here too are true and correct copies of excerpts from my conversation with Ashley Morgan Smithline. And he declares that this is actually under perjury of law and filed on July 19th, submitted to the court and submitted for things on July 22nd. This is Ashley Morgan Smithline's Instagram. They're showing proof of it. And the text reads from them, you're not. You're beautiful. You looked really good in that People magazine interview. So pretty, okay? I can feel you're sorry. I'm so sorry you're struggling. And Ashley replies, they told me to lie and act and speak with no accent. It was truncated. Why did they make you speak in an American accent, out of curiosity? To be like Evan? Question mark. Oh, I see. That's weird. There's already one of her. You could just be like you. That makes me sad. I just want to keep working and be myself. I got pulled into this whole cancel thing, and I just want to keep working and carry on living my own life. There's typos. I'm doing it. I can't read typo. That's completely understandable, he says. Have you been doing okay? This has got to be a pretty heavy burden to carry. Ashley responds, it wasn't something I knew I was even being brought into. I never wanted to cancel anyone, and I just fell in with influence. I want to work and move forward. He continues, you're not a bad person, though. You just do what you need to do to survive in life, right? Even if you have to be dishonest sometimes. I'm willing to bet that you've never actually tried to hurt anybody. You never actually want to hurt anybody. I wouldn't actually hurt a fly, she says. I have no anger or malice. Are you sure you're not Australian? Evan's documentary narrative just needs a certain spin for her billions. And then I saw you on the news, LMAO, and you so did not want to be there. He kind of looks like you'd been awake for 3 days straight and were possibly on like 6 caffeine pills. Typos, you looked, and bloody speech to text, he says. And Ket, she says. Oh. In the chat, do you know what the abbreviation Ket is for? They're stating that it was probably ketamine. Laugh my effing ass off. You were on the Special K while you did that interview. That's another nickname for it. You should resent young girls who reenacted the Crucible. To be honest, you did seem a little strung out. Because it is my name. They destroyed me. I had to be numb. And if you were roped into this shit, though, it was all Evan, sweetheart. Esme and media and Illma, to be fair. Good acting is one thing Evan has going for her. But they really let me be Patsy and take it worse. I left the country. Yeah, the media was also roped into this. Evan had a lot of power here. She controlled everything. I can't exist in that cruelty. People take the purest, kindest souls to take falls. I know, sweetie, he said. But we're going to clear your name one day, yeah? I'm no angel, but it's just not okay. I know you were gullible and a people pleaser, and you thought you were doing the right thing. Did you really think that by lying, making up your own story, you would be helping her? Yeah, I hate lies too. I can't stand telling lies, and I can't stand injustice. Always got to do the right thing, even if it hurts me in some way. I usually end up feeling better after anyway. Like I've fallen for someone and we went about it as adults. We wasn't supposed to, but 3 days in, we owned it and took the lashing, took blame and consequence. Your heart chooses what it does, and life is already written. That is very telling. That looks like someone who does not want to be involved in this anymore. That looks like someone who feels a bit taken aback by what has been happening. What do you guys think? What in the ever-loving fuck is this now? Wow. These people thought this was okay to get some attention and in with the crowd. Now it's okay to be honest sometimes. What the feck? I get you. Feckin' awful is what it is, isn't it? Like, it's okay to lie as long as you're just hurting the person you're supposed to hurt, you know? Sick people are always looking for a way to profit. Celebrities and public figures are always targets. Now let me tell you about the hoe Ryan, insert last name, who touched me. Okay, I get it. Well, Ginger says, yeah. Well, let's hope they will provide actual metadata. Yes, if that is a true conversation and they are putting it in a deposition, I am pretty sure that it's going to be up for that type of scrutiny. And I hope that they are not falling into the same game as the other side without the evidence, you know. Yep. Apart from Illma, Phoenix Rising, and countless interviews over the years from Evan, the biggest issues for me are Heart of Glass video, those checklists, and the FBI letter. I think she's toast. You know what, Kyle? Yeah. It does look very bad. But like I said, I'm reserving some, like Ginger says, metadata for the text. Yes. Although when we get to one part of this deposition, it's going to be a little, in Brian's deposition, his lawyer has spoken to the FBI agent they claim wrote that letter. And the FBI agent says they didn't, has no idea what they're talking about. That is on a signed deposition. It's going to be rough. Yes, ketamine is a horse tranquilizer. They take the ketamine, they take it to in smaller doses to get numb, like she said. At this point, is Manson even suspect of Evan Rachel Woods? No, I don't think he is. But there are other things. There are other people that said stuff, but they're not filing lawsuits. So, no, I don't think he's suspect of this lawsuit. I don't think the anti-SLAPP is going to go through. I don't think their counterclaims are going to go through. I do think that he's going to have a pretty good case here of defamation based on these depositions alone of people who are coming forward to say everything they said was false. Pretty hard. You know, defamation, it's got to be, one part of it's got to be true. And you had to be, for the anti-SLAPP to work, you had to be serving the public, you know, getting them. They thought it's serving the public. They want to get him out of the public eye, get him away from people. He doesn't be a star anymore. He wouldn't have any power, any pull, so he could stop damaging young women, was their premise. Okay. Not Kellogg's cornflakes. I don't know what that is. Okay, I must be talking about Charlie's contest. Okay. Yes, Shay, Illma is a known scammer. She's been involved in quite a few crazy things before. Hey, Tina, welcome. Thank you. In that interview, she did appear under the influence in the interview and struggled to speak. She did seem out of it. She admits that she seemed out of it. She seems to be actually going with what the everybody is saying about that she was under some type of medication. Okay, we've got more. Oh, this is the declaration now of Blair Berk. Okay, Blair Berk is an attorney that practices law in the state of California, and he is the counsel for Brian Warner and attests to everything. Okay, and here is the testimony of the attorney that spoke to the agent. Here we go. On or around November 2021, I became aware of a letter purportedly written and signed by an agent, Michelle Langer, of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, concerning a purported federal criminal investigation into Warner and a supposed threat to the safety of Evan Rachel Woods and others. A true and correct copy of that letter is attached. I had immediate concerns from the authenticity of the letter based on my nearly 30 years of experience practicing federal and criminal state law, because the letter, purportedly written on behalf of an FBI agent, was not on official letterhead, The correspondence stated the author was from the Federal Violent Crimes Department, a department that I had no knowledge of and quickly determined did not exist. The correspondence was not addressed to a specific person, had handwritten contact names on it, and also contained glaring typographical errors. On or around January 26th of 2022, at my direction, my office undertook efforts to determine if there was an actual special agent for the FBI named Michelle Langer. Contemporaneously, my office called the telephone number attached to Agent Langer's name on the letter. A woman named Michelle Meyer answered the phone. Meyer told my office she was not a federal agent and was not Michelle Langer, but was instead an acquaintance of Mr. Warner. After determining that the FBI did employ a special agent by the name of Michelle Langer on or around February 2nd of 2022, I called the Tampa Bay field office of the FBI. The dispatcher I spoke to located FBI agent Michelle Langer in that office. I was connected to Agent Langer, who answered the telephone. Agent Langer told me that she believed the letter was likely a fraud based on my description of the letter. I told Agent Langer I represented Brian Warner, aka Marilyn Manson, and asked if she was familiar with this person or had ever been involved in any criminal investigation of Mr. Warner. Agent Langer said she recognized the name, but had never investigated Mr. Warner or any matter related to Mr. Warner. Agent Langer also stated that she had not ever investigated any matter related to Evan Rachel Wood. After receiving and reviewing the letter, Agent Langer confirmed to me that she did not write the letter. She never authorized the contents of the letter. She never authorized any use of her name on the letter. And there is no Federal Violent Crimes Department at or associated with the FBI. During this call, I also asked Agent Langer whether she recognized the name Illma Gore, aka Ashley Gore. Agent Langer stated this name sounded familiar and that she believed that Gore had previously contacted Agent Langer to report a crime unrelated to Mr. Warner. On or around February 3rd of 2022, I spoke to Agent Langer again. During this call, Agent Langer also confirmed that there was in fact no active criminal investigation of Mr. Warner being conducted by the FBI. Discussing the letter again, Agent Langer stated that she had a suspicion of how her name had been wrongfully used. Two individuals, Mitch Emerson and Kelly Blaschild, had previously contacted her office to report a crime unrelated to Mr. Warner. Like Gore, Emerson and Blaschild are involved with the Phoenix Act. Emerson is listed on LinkedIn as executive director of the Phoenix Act and has posted to Twitter that he works with the Phoenix Act. A true and correct copy of these web pages are attached as Exhibit B. A Kelly Blass, believed to be Kelly Blaschild, is also listed on LinkedIn as the communications liaison of the Phoenix Act and has posted to Twitter that she works with the Phoenix Act. Another web page, www.kellyblass.com Vision, states that my name is Kelly Blaschild. I have worked with an organization called the Phoenix Act. A true and correct copy of those web pages are attached as Exhibit C. I understand from my conversations with Agent Langer that at the time she was not authorized to prepare a declaration in a civil action stating the above facts because of the ongoing investigation of the letter by her office and the U.S. Attorney's Office. I declare under penalty of perjury under the laws of the state of California the foregoing is true, and this is signed by the attorney Blair Berk. Here are Exhibit A. You guys may have seen this in other videos. To whom it may concern, please be advised that Miss Evan Rachel Wood is a key witness in connection to a criminal investigation in Los Angeles, California, involving an international and well-known public figure. The safety of Miss Wood, her family, other victims, and of their families are of the utmost concern during this time. Contact for more information regarding the safety of victims, human and sex trafficking crimes. Fraudulent, it does list Michelle Langer and this fake number. And look at these handwritten numbers. And notice, no letterhead. Bad sentence structure, too. It is illegal, Luke Manal. This is actually, you cannot represent yourself as an FBI agent. This is bad. This is bad. This is going to be a problem. That's why it's with the attorney's office. Okay, the district attorney is looking at it because it's really, really bad. Okay, here is Mitch Emerson stating that he works over there for them. Let me make this smaller so it appears a little bit better on the screen. But you can see that it's a tweet stating his name and that he works with Phoenix. This is also, he says, executive director at Phoenix Act. This is from his LinkedIn, I guess, page. Yep. See how it says, oh no, this is the Phoenix Act page. See it up there? The letterhead. Exhibit C, this would be Kelly Bloss, confirming that she is Kelly Blaschchild. Says that she also is the communications liaison and legislative affairs for the Phoenix Act. Right there under experience. Look at this thread right here saying that she is honored to work with them. On her Twitter, here is Kelly Bloss's state that says that she is Kelly Blaschchild. Right there in writing on her own webpage, confirming who she is. There you go. This lawyer has nailed this in regards to the claim that there was a federal investigation. That letter was used several ways. One way was to try to coerce other women that there was an FBI investigation and that by coming forward they were doing good, to help with the case, to help gather information, to help get him stopped for approaching other women or being harm to other women, young women, to the whole thing. Just made it seem very official what was going on. And it wasn't. It appears to have been allegedly a scam, a big one. So you're wondering, okay, well, yeah, they got a fake letter, right? Like, so what? Like, how are they going to possibly tie that to them? Enter Illma Gore's brother. Deposition 982. I exaggerate, but that's what I feel like reading all this right now. Sorry, guys. This is serious stuff. I don't mean to make light, but damn. Enter Bryton Gore. Deposition. Also from July 22nd, filed on record. Declaration of Bryton Gore. He states that the following facts are within his personal knowledge, and if called as a witness, he will testify to that. Here too. Ashley Gore, aka Illma Gore, is my identical twin sister. Until approximately 2021 of June, I was living in Australia. In 2019 and 2020, I regularly kept in touch with Illma. She told me that she was dating actress Evan Rachel Wood. In or around April of 2021, Illma traveled to Australia and stayed with me and my daughters and my roommate. Illma told me the purpose of her visit was to help me move to the United States in the summer of 2021. We had discussed me wanting to rejoin our family members who lived in the United States. During this trip to Australia, I witnessed Illma using an iPad Pro. Illma told me she borrowed the iPad Pro from our cousin, Marilyn Manson, who lived in the United States, because Illma's own pad had been damaged by Wood's son, Jack. She told me her broken iPad was in the United States. In or around April to May of 2021, I was sitting next to Illma in the sunroom of my house while she was on a call with Wood over the speakerphone. Illma told me it was Wood on the phone. During this call, Wood said there was something wrong with the FBI letter and that she needed Illma to send her a copy. This call was tense and Illma appeared unnerved. Illma was using the iPad Pro. I witnessed Illma use the Procreate application a graphics editing tool I was familiar with, to transfer a signature from one document onto what appeared to be a letter from a federal law enforcement agent. Watching this was alarming, so I asked Illma what she was doing. She said, letter was from the Federal Bureau of Investigation and it was okay because she said, I know the agent and I have her number. When Illma was finished working on the letter, I watched her send it back to Wood. In June of 2021, my daughters and I moved to the United States from Australia. We first stayed in Oregon with Dintz's mother. In or around July 2021, we moved into a house in Watsonville, California with Dintz. Illma previously told me in about April or May of 2021 that she wanted to move in with me and Dintz, although Illma was living in Los Angeles. In or around July of 2021, Illma began staying with us in Watsonville after she told me she had a conflict with her roommate in Los Angeles and was moving out. Around this time, August to September of 2021, a number of Illma's items and furniture were delivered to the house by truck. I first saw the broken iPad while Illma was staying with us in Watsonville. Illma gave me the iPad and told me it was a gift for me and my daughters. The screen was cracked and it did not power on. I put the broken iPod away for safekeeping until I could afford to or figure out how to fix it. During this time, I observed Illma continuing to use Dintz's iPad Pro. In or around September of 2021, living with Illma became intolerable. Illma vacated the house saying that she was going on a work trip to Florida, and she did not come back. Illma left behind various items, furniture, and boxes at the house, but she took Dintz's iPad Pro with her. She did not take the broken iPad that she gifted to me and my daughters. When Illma left, there was no doubt in my mind that the broken iPad belonged to me. So in and around October to November 2021, I attempted to get the broken iPad running. I did not get the screen fixed because it was too expensive. However, I plugged the broken iPad into a weaker power source, not the wall jack, which I thought may help it get powered up. It worked, and the broken iPad powered up. Over the years, Illma shared her iCloud credentials with me so that I could use her account and Apple devices. I opened the iPad with these credentials once it was powered up so I could use it. What I saw on the broken iPad horrified me. Among other things, I saw emails and draft emails that were purportedly written and sent by me, which I never drafted, authorized, or sent, and social media posts and drafts posts purportedly written by me, which I never drafted, authorized, or posted. I also saw a number of items on the broken iPad relating to Wood, the Phoenix Act, and Brian Warner, aka Marilyn Manson, who I knew was Wood's ex-significant other. One item I saw on the broken iPad was a screenshot of a text conversation on the Signal app between Wood and Illma. A true and correct copy of that screenshot is attached as Exhibit A. The screenshot was dated December 20th of 2020. The conversation dated Sunday, November 22nd. November 22nd fell on a Sunday in 2020. Was between someone named Alabama on one hand and someone who said that 424-489-1211 is my new number. On the other hand, I know this is Illma's phone number because I use the same number to call her. As described further below, I understand that Alabama is Wood because Illma told me she referred to Wood as Alabama, and I witnessed and took part in conversations over the Signal app in which Wood used the nickname Alabama. In this conversation, Wood stated, "Here is the letter. To whom it may concern, please be advised that Miss Evan Rachel Wood is one of the primary witnesses in connection with an impending criminal prosecution in Los Angeles involving the international." This is the exact copy of the letter. And she says, "What you think?" And Illma responded, "It's good. I don't know about the letter stating the arrest before it happened." Another item I saw on the broken iPad was an image of an undated letter purportedly written and signed by Michelle Langer, of the Federal Violent Crimes Department. A true and correct copy of that screenshot is attached as Exhibit B. But that letter says the same thing and then says contact for more information regarding the safety of victims in human sex trafficking. Hey, Spooky Spoon. Welcome. This letter looked very similar to the one I witnessed Illma work on or around April to May 2021, when I saw her transfer a signature from one document to another and send that letter to Wood. Another item I saw on the broken iPad was an image of a document titled Federal Bureau of Investigation Receipt for Property, dated December 18th of 2020. A true and correct copy of that screenshot is attached as Exhibit C. At the bottom of the document, next to received from, is Illma's name and a signature, and next to received by is the name Elizabeth Farrell and a signature. This appeared to be the same document and the same signature for Farrell that I saw Illma use in or around April to May of 2021 to alter the letter she sent to Wood. This image also reminded me of a conversation I had with Illma in approximately December 2020, in which she told me she was investigating Warner. The FBI was involved, the investigation was getting serious, and accordingly, she expected to be very busy. Hey, Dr. Nimrod. Another thing I saw on the broken iPad were at least two images of a checklist. One checklist was blank and the others were filled in. A true and correct copy of two such images are attached as Exhibit D. Wow. Okay. Hi, Arcanics. Thanks for being here. Another series of items I saw on the broken iPad were pictures of emails and text messages from Ashley Walters that contained email addresses, social media logins, passwords, addresses, social security numbers, and other personal information about Warner. Around this time, I also looked through items Illma had left in the garage upon leaving for Florida, including unorganized and crumpled stacks of papers and other trash. One item I saw in these discarded materials was a piece of paper covered with what appeared to be my sister Illma's handwriting, which I recognized. A true and correct copy of that document is attached as Exhibit E. Another item I saw in these discarded materials was a notebook filled with what appeared to be my sister Illma's handwriting, which I recognized. A true and correct copy of one page from that notebook is attached as Exhibit F. And in or around early November 2021, I participated in a phone call over the Signal app with Wood, Dintz, and Dintz's mother. We used Dintz's phone. I observed that Wood's Signal nickname was Alabama. I recognized her voice, and she identified herself as Wood. Wood wanted to discuss what happened while Illma was living at our house. According to Wood, Gore said I had died 3 months prior. I said I was not dead. The conversation moved to what I saw on the broken iPad and in Illma's discarded items. I told Wood that I had seen a letter supposedly written about her by an FBI agent, and earlier that year, I witnessed Illma doctor the same or similar letter. In other words, that I knew the letter was fake. Wood's response shocked me. She said the letter was so important to her work against Warner and told me to think of what would happen to her and the victims if this ever got out to the media. I offered to send Wood or her attorneys these materials, but she declined. Under penalty of perjury under the laws of the state of California, foregoing is true and correct, signed on the 19th in Gilroy, California, by Bryton Gore. Here are the exhibits. Whoa. Illma, I'd say Kyle's Goldfish says, so on a scale of 1 to 10 right now, with 1 being the least and 10 being the most, how much does Illma detest her brother right now? I'd say 10 since she told everybody he was dead. I'm trying not to laugh, but damn, she told her she was dead. All right, here is the phone, the text messaging thing. Whoa, I've never seen this one. There's the new number, and here's the letter. Again, this is what he said. It said, They said it's good. I don't know about the letter stating the arrest before it happens, exactly as he claims in the deposition. I would assume they're going to turn over this device and metadata will be achieved, because this is massive. And the fact that he offered the materials to Woods and her attorney and they declined. Here's the copy again from the iPad of the letter, exactly as it's been presented in other formats. Exhibit C. Here is the receipt of property. Illma Gore. We don't know what this is. This is one box containing, I can't read what that says, a folder in a copy of some kind of, I don't know. I can't read exactly what that says, but it's signed. Apparently, she was investigated for something and turned over evidence. Anyway, here is Exhibit D. This is what they call the checklist that was on there. Of if you had anything to do with Brian Warner, aka Marilyn Manson, they wanted you to fill this out to see what kind of stuff happened to you. See if it went in line with what they were saying. Thank you so much, Spooky, for 4.49 pound. Thank you so much with the lovely sticker. It's nice to see you here, love. Thank you very much. You see the stuff that's on here? Blood drinking, forced to eat on specific eating, given a dress code, threatened, scarification, exploitation or blackmail, matching tattoos. Were you a minor and had sexual relationships with Brian Warner, aka Marilyn Manson? They're this is not good. This is, when I saw this is what made me think this is all coordinated. Also, here's one filled in by Gabriella. Look at this. They were married. That's not good. Here is the handwritten note. He attests that this is his sister's handwriting. It says, and so when he hit me, I started to feel crazy. I thought she was crazy. I saw her scream, crying, and he told me she was crazy. I was there to work on a film project. I would cry and slit my wrists in the hopes that he'd stop hitting me. I must have looked crazy. I was there to film a project, a music video, from the abuse. I was relieved for one night I would get a break from the abuse. I realized the filming wasn't professional very quickly, but I didn't want to question him. I couldn't trust her. He threatened me when I asked. He was texting. I couldn't just leave, even if I wanted to. He texted me saying he could rape me. I woke up tied up being raped. In the morning, he told me he loved me. I started to think of a way to escape. I accept his apology, moved past this together. He loves me, and I trust him. Repeats back to connected over the same. This is crazy. Oy. Here's another list. Her handwriting. My plan is good, and my art is unique. You can sell for millions with strategy. This is proven. Damien Hirst, Warhol, Go. Create a personal brand. You are unique in industry. Ultimately, to make more art. You are unique, interesting, and have weird perspectives. Stand by them. Admit when you're wrong. Paint. You are talented. To excel. Phoenix Act. To protect. To make money. Doing that. Phoenix Act. To protect. To make money. Doing that. Yikes. Yikes. Oy. Let me check some comments here. Again, thank you, Spooky. Hey, Liam. I know, auditioning for a movie role. All right. You're welcome, Nimrod. Don't worry about it. I didn't remove you as a mod. Just don't be, what did you say? Don't be ridiculous in Discord anymore. That's it. That's my advice. Okay, Evan is trying to explain away the number 15 tat she got with Manson as if she was forced to do it. I know. It's crazy. Hey, Anakai, welcome. Oh. Still, wrists, slit wrists between punches? What is this garbled nonsense? I know, Liam, it makes no sense to me what she's writing there. It's like a list of all the things that they could say. And believe me, when you look at the text messages from February 1st of 2021, it's all there. I actually tried to keep an open mind on this, and I'm not a Manson fan. But when I watched Phoenix Rising, I believed Evan even less. The whole Neeler story just looked pre-rehearsed as if she was, and I'll get the second part. You do this. I should be ready. Where's your number 2? Where is your number 2? Oh, as if she was. It was re-rehearsed. Okay, there isn't a number 2. I do believe that. And also they are stating that the kneeler that she said got all busted up in there, they show it in other film and other episodes after the fact of this happening, and it's perfectly fine in other videos. There's nothing happened to it. Nothing happened to it. I'm telling you, it's crazy. We've watched Phoenix Rising already, yes, and I have to say that I'm with Kyle's Goldfish. It looked like a hit piece. It comes off orchestrated. It comes off manipulative. It does not ring true, and it is all targeted. It does believe. Thank you. That's right. I did change the glasses. It's the same me, only I'm not wearing sunglasses. I'm just wearing, like, from reading all these legal documents. Those are my legal document glasses. So thank you, Anikai, for noticing. That's really nice. Yeah, really. I'm telling you, it does come off like red. She definitely, it's like, it does come off. I mean, I want you all to judge for yourself. I don't want to put out a biased opinion and not have you look at the evidence and look at everything for yourself. But that was my personal take on it. That I would like to hear what you all, after you see it, what you think. Okay. I'm telling you. Yeah. Let's see. She said Manson was already destroyed. Yes, she did. And she was very pleased that she had something to do with that. And you could tell. Very much so. Kyle's Goldfish. Yup, was all over it when it came out. I tried to keep an open mind, but she is a very damaged person psychologically and doesn't stack up against what we know and everything now. Yes, that's going to bring me to the last deposition part. I'm going to read that at a later time. Let me just give you bullets. Let me just see what I have left here. Oh, of course, the ears are always going to stay the same, student, aren't they? They're my lovely little cat ears. I mean, I'm a woman named Bear who's got a thing for cat ears. Yes, that's me. Yeah. Uh-huh. That's it. I do. I like the cat ears. They're cute. I'm keeping them. Okay. I'm going to show you a couple more. We're going to go a little bit long. I'm sorry, but I don't want to have to do a part 2 with only these couple hanging out. So let's go really quick to this one, and I will peruse through this one a little quicker for you, because this one basically is just from Jaden Elworthy, and she says that she knows Ashley Morgan Smithline. She met her in London, England, May 22nd of 2022, and that she declares under penalty of perjury that this is true. That Ashley later contacted her on Instagram Messenger from the account Ashley Morgan Smithline to communicate, which confirmed to me that this account and the person I met were the same. And she's saying that because there are other declarations of things that happened. There are text messages. And she's saying that that is the account that actually came forward. Okay. The last deposition I have for you is from Howard King, which is an attorney for Marilyn Manson. And in that is the actual deposition from Evan Rachel Woods, the father of her son, Jack. Okay, and I'm going to get to that. There was a custody case because apparently, long story short, Evan took him out of state using this FBI letter as the reason. Okay, and I want to get not to her deposition, but to his. See, they're using she used that letter to state that she was at risk and she needed to go to Nashville instead of staying in Los Angeles with the son. They had joint custody. He was an active father in his son Jack's life, and she basically took the child away from him. There are letters to her, from her to Jamie, just saying, don't worry about it. You know, everything's going to be okay. We're at risk. I can't come back to Los Angeles, but, you know, supposedly being threatened by fans of Brian Warner, Marilyn Manson. Okay. Here is the actual declaration of Andrew James Matfin Bell. Okay. He is the petitioner. Okay. Evan continues to withhold our son Jack from me out of state. As I explained to the court in detail on January 22nd of 2021, declaration in support of the request for order, Evan abruptly and unilaterally decided to withhold Jack from me in mid-December 2020. I will not repeat here what I explained to the court then, but I will add that my repeated attempts to put even a temporary custody plan in place have been ignored or refused by Evan. That Evan just last week allowed me to take a trip with Jack in Florida conveniently right before the hearing of my request order does not change the fact that Evan is preparing to continue to withhold Jack in Tennessee and that we have no timetable for a return to the 50-50 custody we previously shared. It is simply not true that I consented to Evan keeping Jack outside of California, as she falsely claims, or that I have not been trying to desperately get him back and see him. Here are just some examples of the attempts. Okay, and he says that he asked Evan to speak with me with the co-parenting therapist we used in the past, Lisa Hacker, to figure out a custody plan. Ms. Hacker contacted Evan as well. Evan did not respond. True and correct copies of all those examples of the emails I sent or received regarding speaking with Ms. Hacker are attached as Exhibit 7. I attended mediation with Evan and our respective attorneys at Evan's request on February 18, 2021, with the Honorable Judge Scott Gordon. I tried to do this mediation earlier in January, but Evan and her counsel would not agree to the February 18th date. A true and correct copy of an email I sent to Evan, again pleading for an earlier mediation date so that I could see Jack, is attached as Exhibit 8. I agree to use the judicial officer she proposed and to pay one half of the cost. After several hours of discussion, Evan and her counsel abruptly left and refused to put even a temporary plan in place for our son to be returned to my custody and his home in California. I believe that the entire mediation was just another bad faith delay on Evan's part and that she made no real effort to resolve custody. On Monday, immediately following this bad faith mediation, February 22nd, Evan filed a custody action in Tennessee. I believe this was yet another stall tactic. I have never resided in Tennessee. I have only visited Tennessee briefly to visit with Jack in the past, when Evan brought him there over holidays or a break from school. The idea that our custody case might proceed in Tennessee is absurd to me. Evan spends approximately 8 months in Los Angeles each year filming the HBO television show Westworld, let alone other film or television projects. Evan has told me she is coming back to Los Angeles this June to film the next season of Westworld. I sought ex parte custody orders from this court on March 2nd. I continue to message Evan with the hope of working something out with her. Evan tells me to talk to her lawyers, while her lawyers represent to mine that she and I are discussing the issue. I have attached true and correct copies of just some of the emails I have sent to Evan to reach a resolution. as Exhibit 9. The lawyers have written to Evan's lawyers multiple proposals that Jack could spend some time with me outside of Los Angeles where Evan contends he would be in danger. I have suggested meeting her and Jack in a neutral location, halfway between here and Nashville, where she has been withholding Jack from me. I am not comfortable going to Tennessee because Evan filed a request for restraining orders to prevent me from leaving the state with Jack. I have also suggested that Jack spend time with me in Florida, where my in-laws have a residence. When Evan's attorneys finally provided some actual dates she would supposedly agree to, they were not until March, and she also continued to suggest I come to Tennessee, where she sought the restraining order against me. Evan's attorneys then indicated on March 17th, just before Evan's response paperwork was due to this court, that I could have Jack in Florida from March 20th through April 3rd, as I had asked. It is the first and only time she has permitted me to my time with Jack since December of 2021. That's terrible. I would also like the court to know that Evan's recent behavior with Jack is truly alarming. Evan is thankfully still facilitating FaceTime, though that is the only contact I have with Jack now apart from her recent concession to let me see Jack in Florida. During a FaceTime call I had with Jack on February 25th of 2021, Jack said something to the effect of, "You're not good, Daddy. You're not here." And it broke my heart. A few weeks earlier, Jack told me he drew a picture of a man who has been hurting him. Evan jumped onto the call and corrected him, saying not the man hurting you, the man hurting me. Jack said that the man's name is Brian, Marilyn Manson's real name, and he lives 3 miles from my house in Los Angeles, and said that was why he was staying in Nashville. Evan's initial contention as to why she failed to return Jack to California was because she says she is involved in a high-profile investigation regarding supposed abuse by Brian. I have nothing to do with this investigation, but Evan contends that she is now fearful for her and Jack's safety. During our recent stipulated visitation that Evan allowed at my in-laws' house in Florida, Jack voiced his concern for his safety and reminded us repeatedly of the man who hurts his mom and displayed emotional outbursts related to the case his mother is involved in. When I mentioned fun things to do in the future, Jack told me he could only do them if Brian is in jail. I am absolutely appalled and terrified that Evan is feeding this information to our 7-year-old son. Evan previously made similar allegations of abuse against Marilyn Manson, which had been well documented in the press. Their relationship and alleged abuse took place many years ago. I fully support Evan and any victim of abuse, but any such abuse here is not new and does not involve me or my son. I know Evan loves our son, but I am very concerned by how she is handling the current situation. Whatever fears Evan may have regarding third parties should have nothing to do with me or the custody of our son. I do not even want to think of short and long-term psychological harm Evan might be inflicting upon Jack with this kind of talk and my prolonged separation from him. I worry now that Evan is alienating me from Jack, even inadvertently. I simply want to normalize things for our son and bring him to Los Angeles. It is absurd to me that Evan is now bringing up events 7 or 8 years ago when was in my 20s to somehow malign me. While Evan and I both travel at times to work on location, we have otherwise shared 50-50 custody in Los Angeles for years, and I am a devoted father to Jack as well as to Jack's sister Ripley, my nearly 2-year-old daughter with my wife Kate. Evan and I have not been in a romantic relationship for almost 7 years, but during that time have been mostly successful at co-parenting Jack here in Los Angeles. We each facilitated drop-offs and pickups, accommodated each other's sometimes irregular work schedules, alternated holidays, and together planned, organized, and attended Jack's birthday, the most recent of which we held at mine and my wife's house during the pandemic lockdown, with Evan and her partner in attendance. Jack could have returned to in-person schooling in February of 2021 with his classmates at his school in Children's Community Center in Van Nuys, but Evan is now precluding him from doing so. It was Evan who wanted Jack transferred to this school last summer from his former school in Los Angeles, and now she won't allow him to attend in-person learning. I believe it is detrimental for Jack to miss out on his classmates and teachers and the socialization in-person instruction fosters. Jack's teachers have also told me in-person learning is better for Jack's development. Re-enrollment forms for the next year were due at the end of February 2021, and both Evan and I provided the re-enrollment paperwork to the school. A true and correct copy as of March 1st, 2021, confirmation email I received from Jack's school is attached as Exhibit 10. I did not see Evan in her paperwork that she has. I did not see Evan mentioned in her paperwork that she has a house in Sherman Oaks located at, and it's redacted. This is the house where Jack lived with her during her 50% custody time prior to her withholding Jack in Tennessee this December. This house is held in name of a California trust that is managed by a California trustee, our former joint business manager, Gersie Schneider. I have attached true and correct copies of the deed as Exhibit 11. I desperately need this court to help get Jack back home. I am still in shock at the direction this is all taken. For 7 years, I shared equally custody of Jack with his mother, and now his mother has been keeping him from me since December. I have tried co-parenting therapy, mediation with a private judge, communicating directly with Evan, negotiating through attorneys, and I still do not have physical custody of my son. This is an absolute nightmare. It makes no sense to me. I am not trying to take Jack away from Evan. I just want to go back to a shared custody we had in Los Angeles. And this was all signed on the 26th date of March of 2021 and used in this declaration. Oh. And there were more declarations that I don't think that any of this has. It just goes into greater detail about trying to get together with them. All of the emails. I don't know why they listed it twice. Because he filed it in January and again in March. That's why they listed it twice, because he filed twice. But it's the same information. Here is the email. She says to Jamie, I am writing this email to you to let you know that Jack and I will be staying in Nashville for the immediate future. As you will soon find out, I am a material witness in a high-profile criminal investigation, which likely will be public in the near future. I have been advised that both Jack and my safety is at risk and that it is in our best interest to remain in Nashville. I will forward to you my contact at the FBI, and you should feel free to call with whatever questions you have. I know how difficult this is for you to be away from Jack for an extended period of time. I will do whatever I can to accommodate you should you want to come here to visit him whenever you want. I, of course, will facilitate FaceTime with Jack on a frequent basis. I am available to answer any questions you may have. Thank you for your understanding during this difficult time. Shine on. All right. The rest of these are all going to be him trying to. First, there's the FBI letter. That's what she uses to tell him that she's in this involved in this case. I know it's terrible. All right. And then again she tries to tell him again. No, you need. I believe the best chance for success is to mediate this with a private judge, and they do. But she doesn't do anything about it. She doesn't answer the mediators. Okay. There's plenty of contact here. This is from Melissa trying to organize with Lisa and with the judge over and over again. They were trying to get in touch with her, and she's saying she's not answering anything. This is heartbreaking. She keeps saying she'll do whatever she can to accommodate him, and thank you for understanding. But she doesn't. She doesn't. She still just sends everything after the fact. So Jamie then starts to tell her, I've been calling the incorrect number for 2 days, meaning the number that she gave for Michelle Langer, which was the wrong person. The person who owns the number you gave me for Michelle has since reached out via text and has issued me with a new number. Can you please now confirm that this is the correct number for Michelle Langer? In other words, he didn't want to just randomly call it unless she confirmed it, you know? Again, at Christmas, he's trying to reach. The numbers are all wrong. He can't get a hold of anyone to confirm anything. And yet this is what she says, okay? Oh, this. This is what has been submitted also from Howard at the end about Illma Gore saying that all of that stuff that was on the iPad couldn't be hers because she's been hacked. Obviously, my art and my life have long been magnets for controversy, but these recent claims about me are horrible distortions of reality. Before publishing images, be aware that photos and images from my hard drives have been registered with the U.S. Copyright Office. This documentation names me as the rightful copyright owner. I have not nor will give permission to use them. Bring it the fuck on, you rapist, pedophile motherfucker. Yeah, I said it. Okay. Again, this Michelle. Hey, this is the contact to the investigation for you to leave a message. She will direct you to the right person. She probably won't answer, but leave a message. Hope you haven't been spammed too much lately. Thanks. I will call her tomorrow and leave. I just received 2 voicemails on my cell just now looking for Michelle Langer. Sean Hawley called saying she represents Evan and Jamie Bell. Called saying he's the father of Jack Bell. I haven't returned the calls to tell them they have the wrong person. Do you want me to call them or you and Evan sort it out on your end? Don't respond. I'll have it fixed immediately. This is Illma. Sorry for that. Someone got the numbers mixed up. Someone named Illma. Hey, this is random. This is the one that she sent to the other person that I did the deposition on. This is she showing that she's saying she works for Phoenix Act and that she's trying to reach out to get information. She's coercing, trying to get people to join. Saying that she believes it's Jeanette in this video. They don't even know, and they're making accusations. And I can only tell by the index fingers and the bracelets. The FBI got involved, and we've been working with them because, unfortunately, there were many more teens subject to abuse. But mainly, I found Sistina's live journal of you, Jeanette, and Allison. This is what he said about the other 3 people were mentioned in Brian's deposition. That this never... They're saying that they were all in it, and they know they weren't. I know the police pulled them out of the band situation in New York at some point, and I know it's probably, it doesn't continue, and I know it's probably very weird to read about this from a complete stranger, but I felt compelled to check in because of the abuse suffered from other teenagers who are stating they weren't teenagers and nothing happened, and that there's a group here if you ever want that. But there's no pressure to be involved in any way. And I recognize this would be a hard message to read. Can you imagine just sending that to somebody? And the rest of this is about the timing of the ex parte notice, which we don't need to go over. So that is the end of deposition reading for the day. That was a lot. Okay, that was much lot. We went much longer than we normally go. I'll tell you. Let me read some of these comments. From Liam. The animal repeats what has worked in the past. She has obviously used these kind of manipulation techniques before to get her own way. Unfortunately, I think you might be right. Hey, Mandy. Welcome, love. I didn't see you come in. You hear some of this. I'm sorry you had to hear that about the child. It's not a good deal. I understand, and yeah, I'm sure it brings things up. Hugs, love. Liam also says all public social movements bring the nutcases out of the woodwork to hang out on their own ego gratification. I get it. I get it. Oh no. When the mother of my kids and I split up, neither of us ever badmouthed the other in any way. It sickens me to even consider that parents would shit on their kids' other parent. Exactly. There's no need for that. It only damages the child. You think it's revenge. You think you're doing something, but you're only hurting your own flesh and blood. Like whatever happens between two grown-ups stays with those two grown-ups. You do not need to damage the child's view of their parent. That's their parent. I agree with you. I totally agree with you. It is horrible that he did that. Dr. Dr. Unsensible says, I am upset for Manson's kids. Why do women always come out as winners of domestic situations? Not always, not always, but I will say that it is biased. The language of some of the legislation is written to be biased. What, protection for women and children and leaving men out in the cold. And I will say the American court system is slandered against the man or the father in a lot of cases, and I hope that they fight more. But it's a shame that you have to leave a relationship and then fight just to get 50-50 custody, which, if you have been raising that child all along, should be an immediate thing. And if you don't want 50-50 custody, that should be what you fight for. If you want more or less, but 50-50 should be the standard, automatic, in place. I mean, that's what I'd be advocating for. I think it's ridiculous that it's not, but that's just my personal opinion. Which I need to inject whenever this comes up. Yes, Liam, while we are looking for sense of this whole matter, they're looking for notoriety. I mean, she said it right there. Phoenix Act, right? To protect and make some money doing it. Oh, boy. I'm not sure about children, Spooky. I have to look into that. Bye, Kyle's Goldfish. Thank you for being here. And thank you all for being here. Thank you, all of you who hung out while I read all of that long, long stuff and on and on. I hope my voice didn't torture you too much. And, yes, Spooky, I fired your brain. I hope in a good way. There's plenty of that we've got to talk to. And you're going to watch it from the beginning, and I thank you very much for that. Also, if you want more information on what all of the accusations that were made way back, I've got a playlist in the description. I've also listed Colonel Kurt's playlist because she goes over quite a bit. She has interviews with people close to Manson who say none of this happened, close to Evan Rachel Woods, people in the know that you don't get to see in other places. Watch them. And make your own decision. I don't want to bias you in any way. This is legal updates. We're going to keep to the court case here. But I do have an opinion about it, of course. And I know you all do too, and I want to talk about it. But we are going to wait for a court or trial or evidence, because we're going to say allegedly, until even allegedly about all of these falsehoods that Evan Rachel Wood and Illma Gore, it does appear that they have stepped in some poop, so to speak, with their actual bringing forth of accusations, and that there are actual evidence and depositions that say otherwise. And it does appear that it's coming from multiple sources. And you know what I think about that? If it's coming from multiple sources, then it all seems to be sounding true, and there's actual evidence to back it up. Okay, clear evidence that the person they say was from the letter states, I didn't write that letter. It's not on letterhead. I had nothing to do with it. That's damning. That's very damning. Okay, very damning. I don't understand why, when offered the same documentation from the iPad that he was going to bring forward to Brian Warner's attorneys, why Evan and her attorneys declined. Or Evan actually declined for her attorneys. I mean, why would you do that? Maybe just to say that they don't exist or that they're forged, but the metadata will speak for itself. And there's no denying whose iPad it is. And there's also the iCloud, which can show all of it, like how it got changed. It will document everything, won't it? Didn't we learn that in the other trial? That every time something changed, more was added and the history was there, and you can actually trace all that stuff back. Yeah. So there we go. All right. So let me see if you have any questions. Ah. Oh, thank you, Mandy. I'm glad I didn't throw you for a loop. And I'm so happy you were here. And you know me, boo. Anytime you want to do anything, call me. I'm here for you. I'm here. Mikkel Wills says she also has interviews with women named in the accusers. Colonel Kurtz gives the women a platform who deny getting lumped into the accusers' claims. Yes. Yes, she does. She wants them to be able to say their voice too. Thank you, Mikkel. There's like I said, there's tons of interviews on there, and that's why I linked it. I don't believe in this competition YouTube thing. I think we all have a voice on this. I do it different than she does. Her information is valid and true. She's a bigger YouTuber. She got a strong voice out there. She's working with other attorneys, just like myself and Mandy will go check stuff out before we start saying anything about something. We don't pretend to be lawyers. We're not pretending to be paralegals. So we have a great interest in it because we like law. I love reading legal briefs. It's true. I'm a nerd. I admit it. I like this stuff a lot, and I'm fascinated with this case because of the snowballing that happened, and because of the damn good legal lawyering that's going on right now in these depositions. They're going, oh, no, let us just prove that what we're claiming is true, and here is all the backup. We are not just putting stuff out there without having some backup. Okay, and yes, it is true that both Gore and Woods have filed anti-SLAPP, okay, to try to stop part of this case. But as I stated in the beginning, it's not going to stop everything. It's not going to stop that FBI letter thing. It's not going to stop the defamation tweets that happened like that. That was not. It will probably, and I say if because after reviewing several of the legal channels and what's out there, I don't really think after these depositions came forward that the anti-SLAPPs that are actually going to be weighed on, I believe on August 18th, we don't have far to wait. We have like a month to wait to see how they're going to go with those anti-SLAPPs. But based on these depositions, I really don't see them going forward and taking Phoenix Rising and all of the defamation statements that were made during Phoenix Rising and the promotion of Phoenix Rising in the press that was done around it, the statements that Ava and Rachel Wood made in regards to it, accusing Brian Warner. Okay. I don't see them pushing all that back as, reasonable public protection, good of the public. We had to put it out there because it was for the greater good. I don't see it. But, you guys tell me. What do you think? Let's see what else we have. Okay. Last week's stream, I couldn't even type because I was 2 days into a detox. This week, I was 80% present, so made me feel better about myself. Well, first of all, Luke, congratulations on if this is the path that you want to take. We support you. I hope you're doing well with it. I hope you have good support with it and that you're taking care of yourself. And thank you for the compliment if we make you feel better. You always have a place here in my streams. You're always very thoughtful. I hope you do feel better. And, we'll support you in your endeavors there. We really do. And I don't mean to embarrass you. I mean to give you good vibes and support. There are plenty here in the chat that know exactly what you're going through and are going to give you good vibes of support. I know. Okay. Mikkel says she believed the accusers, but she couldn't shake the feeling that there was much more to the story. Yes, because like me, I think you saw how organized it was. It was like too much. Although I do have issues with the age, some things that happened or they say happened. Some of the allegations disturbed me. I'll put it that way. The denying of food, coercion, things like that. And I'm not saying they're true. I'm just saying it disturbed me to think that might have happened and that could interfere with consent, if you know what I mean. And that was an issue for me, as I explained before, coercive consent or in power imbalance situations. That's something I look for in my legal stuff that I'm thinking. It's something that I'm interested in, seeing how the courts handle that, seeing how legally they handle that, because it keeps going back and forth and there's no clear precedence on it. Mm-hmm. Oh, and here's one of my next cases. Claire, you need to research what's going on with Morgan Freeman because it's a whole ass joke. Is it? Okay, I will. No, I know you weren't bragging, Luke. It gives you perspective, and that's not bragging, dude. You deserve props for going through that. That's not bragging. That is a struggle that we all support, and you stick to it. That's not bragging, dude. You should be proud. You should definitely be proud. Yeah, we stand with you. Okay. Oh my gosh. No, don't say that, Dr. Sensible, because you don't. You know, you're just infatuated with my avatar. I know. I know. It's a damn cute avatar. I get it. Well, remember, it's an avatar. Okay. Liam, I go through I don't know what that means. I can't read it. I don't know why I put it up. I'm sorry. All right. Yes, watch on civil law. He's done a couple of vids. Would that be on Morgan Freeman, Mandy? Is that where I'm going to find Morgan Freeman? I know, Robski. That's what I was thinking. What? Morgan Freeman? Don't do this to me. I don't know. I'm hoping it's not, Robski, but of course, I will let you all know. Yes. And Luke, I hope you're reading all of the support in the chat. You see, it wasn't just me. And no, we don't think you're bragging. And I don't mean to embarrass you, but, celebrate your achievements. Thank you, Spooky. I'm glad you like my voice. Okay. Thank you. I stumbled onto victim statements by Janice Dickinson against Bill Cosby, and she's lying through her teeth and can't keep her story straight. I saw that too. But that's Janice Dickinson. Yeah. But there were other ones that were a little bit more credible. But, we know Janice. Yeah, that was a little rough. It was hard to believe her based on it. I know, Ardo. I do like your name. I do, Otto, and you got a great hat. I put it up because I thought, it looked long and I was going to say it. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Mr. Sensible. That's a very nice thing to say. Okay. I'm glad you like it here. I like it here. I like when all of you participate this way. I really do. I look forward to it. It means that I'm actually talking about something you want to hear about and that I'm giving you the attention that you deserve in regards to your comments and giving you a voice in the conversation, because that's how this legal stuff should be done. If you have questions, I should answer them, and try to explain things the best I can. And when I don't have the answer, I go and look for it. Like somebody mentioned Charles Manson, not Charles. Oh my gosh, Charles. No, I mean Marilyn Manson, Brian Warner's children. I did not know the man had any children, and I'm going to go find out. Like I will. And the next time we talk about Manson, I'll give you more information. Let's see. I know. Thank you for getting the links, Mandy. Okay, she says, when she was 33 before the hubs, I dated a 20-year-old. Mandy, it was a recurring joke that he wasn't old enough to go to the bar, so I don't comment on age. Yeah, I'll get the links. Yeah, I know, I hear you. And I'm not saying that a 19-year-old or a 20-year-old doesn't know their own mind, because absolutely they do. They are legal, they're adult, and I'm not even accusing him of anything along that line. It's just some of the stories, they hit you. And like I said, allegations only, no evidence of proof. We haven't even heard from these women, some of these women legally. They just put it all out there on February to go along with what everybody else. There's only 4 lawsuits. One of them's already kicked. Okay. All right. And the other ones by Jane Doe, Ashley Morgan Smith, and Esme Bianco are still active. And then Brian Warner instituted this case that we're talking about today against Evan Rachel Woods and Illma Gore, who, by the way, are making accusations without filing a lawsuit against him like the others did. Don't you find that odd? Yeah. Oh no, it's August 18th. We're going to find out about the slap and about the discovery. Remember, Brian is also trying to get discovery moved up so he can get all of the discovery at once, because the anti-slap stopped discovery. And if they did all of this discovery without discovery, with discovery being frozen, can you imagine what they're going to get next? I can't wait. I cannot wait. Thank you. Charlie, there are no donuts and coffee. I thought you were here, for the company. Oh, Charlie. Oh, don't break my heart, dude. Hey. It's going to be another 6 months trial that Ranty's going to cover. I don't know. I don't know if Ranty's going to cover another trial. We have talked about doing legal on his channel, but I don't know. Ranty was on vacation for a while. Was when I heard from him. I think he was back. He did a video, unless he did it while traveling. I'm not sure. But I do not know his plans. But I wouldn't be averse to conversations with Ranty, of course. I had a blast covering that, I did. But I don't know. Thank you, Spooky. And I appreciate that you like the way I do my research. I try. And I have help with Johnny Depp, with Mandy. That was awesome. We worked together. And also, while I did the live coverage with Ranty, I've got to commend many of you in the chat who came forward and hit my DMs every morning with good information. If anything was going on, you made sure I knew about it to keep the chat lively and to keep the conversations going. And you all deserve some props for that, because, that takes a team. I don't do this alone. Many of you hit my DMs with good, interesting information to cover here that people may be interested in, and I appreciate it. I read it all. I look at it all. I'm sorry I can't get into great, long conversations with all of you all of the time. But, when I can, I will, and I will bring it up here. And I thank you for it. And I do, it's a great community we're building here. Mikkel says the photographs used as proof of violent acts perpetrated on them were taken from Pinterest, and the moles don't match with another woman's pictures provided as proof. Yep, I got that. Currently, I am not near any of fires in the States. I am on the East Coast, Spooky. So it's not as dry on the coast. Yes. I love a supportive and honest community. And gluten-free donuts. I've had them. Some can be good, but some not. It's like anything. It's if anybody's an expert. All right. On that, I've gone the 2 hours. We're going to lock this up now. Thank you so much, everybody. I really, really appreciate all of your comments, all of the time that you spent here, especially the longer time that we did. Oh, my goodness, Mandy, it's on the West Coast. It's 104. Oh, my gosh. I don't know organics where we can get extra gluten donuts, but I do love warm dough. The smell of warm dough, the taste of a warm donut. Oh, my gosh. Anyway. Thank you all. Thank you, Sandy. I see you. Hi. And you did ask me how I was before, and I didn't get to type. I'm doing well, and I hope you are too. I did see the comment. I just didn't get to type before I started reading. Thank you all. I'm going to put the outro on again before I go too long, and this thing gets stuck in oblivion somewhere. So I will see you all Wednesday night. I'm going to do an AITA with a very funny account from Twitter called Dirty Uncle Sal. Yes, I said it. Dirty Uncle Sal is going to join me for Am I the Asshole? And it should be lit. It'll be 9 o'clock in the evening, Eastern Standard Time. I know some of my friends from the UK, that's a little rough on time, but there'll be replay, and Am I the Asshole is just as much fun. You don't get to vote, but it can be pretty funny on replay too. So hopefully we'll see you there. But anyway, everybody have a good night. Thank you to all of my mods who came. Hi, Mrs. Cassandra. Bye, Mrs. Cassandra. Bye, Charlie. Bye, Dr. Nimrod. Bye, Arcanix and Mandy and Autistic Shield. Thank you so much for your time, because I can't type right now to tell you that you rock like I do every time. Thank you to everybody in the chat, because I can't type right now. But I am going to tell you that I appreciate you, all your comments. Thank you. Hopefully, I'll see you during the week. And for now, let us just say goodbye. Let's see, ring that bell, subscribe, like the video, comment on the video, and if you think it's of interest to anybody, share the heck out of it with anybody that wants to know what's going on. Don't forget the playlist if you want to get some more information on the actual evidence that's been provided and some of the things that happened in the beginning of the case. All right, have a good night all. Bye.